the essence of book is not Christian. It's something that I find it in Rumi, I find it in Ghazali, and that's actually what provoked me perhaps, and induced me to translate the book, you see. And I'm going to write a whole footnote on the book, and quoting Rumi and Ghazali in order to show the commonalities between the Christian contemplation and esotericism and Islamic mysticism. You see, there are a lot in common. So when you come to the moral layer of religiosity, and even when you go even deeper to the contemplative dimension of religion, you will find a lot in common. The second experience that I had was about Ghazali himself. I think I mentioned here last time that Ghazali wrote the Ihya al-Ulum, of course, the revivification of religious sciences. So that was 900 years ago, and that was a very brave action on the part of him, because at that time, some people did not tolerate such an enterprise on the part of a conservative, perhaps, alim. But he did it. It was a very influential book. And as I mentioned, there are some nasty allusions to Shiism even in the book. But the book was well received by Shia community as well. Not because of the fiqh in the book. The book has got very lengthy sections on fiqh, on Sharia. Not because of that, but because of the moral issues that he has tackled in the book. In the 10th century, i.e. 500 years after the death of Ghazali, the book was edited by a Shi'i alim in the Safavid period. And the book now is in print in 8 volumes in Iran. Kashani has changed, has made a lot of changes on the part of Sharia in the book, and the section of Sharia. But virtually he has not touched the section on ethics and morality. Because there, Shi'is and Sunnis have got a lot in common. But as far as Sharia is concerned, of course, we differ sometimes, somehow. Even the way we pray is different, the way we make wuzu is different, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, it is like this. But when you go deeper, to the deeper layer, to the ethical, to the moral layer, there you find a lot in common, and the differences and disagreements vanish or perhaps diminish. So this is the second layer, which is more important and make us members of the same family, perhaps make us closer to each other, whether within a particular religion or perhaps in different religions. Now here the challenge of modernity is more serious, has to be taken more seriously. There are many things and many points which I can mention, but I think one thing is one or two. A couple of points perhaps are more important and more sensitive. At least nowadays people are more familiar with these 2 points. The idea of freedom and the idea of right. These two I will discuss consecutively. Very briefly, of course. Freedom is familiar. We know it. And as you know, the word, of course, has been always there. It is not a new fabrication, it is a new coinage. It has been always there. But the respect that people declare to freedom nowadays is much more than what it used to be in the past. And the pivotal place that it has now in morality, in ethics, in law, is very different from what it used to be. In the constitutional revolution in Iran, roughly 100 years ago, this particular concept was at issue. And there were ulama, on both sides, in both camps, people who did not like it and people who liked it. Okay. Now in the Islamic Revolution in Iran, we have got exactly the same problem, exactly the same debate going on in the press, among the ulama, among the intellectuals, and so on and so forth. Still, the problem is with us. And we have not moved an inch, I would say, from the position and the situation we were in 100 years ago. Still we are discussing the problem that does Islam accommodate freedom, or is it hostile to freedom? Is it a Western commodity? It is something which is ours, or perhaps we have to borrow it from foreigners, this and that, and you are familiar. The problem is not yet solved. Problem is not yet solved. This means that now we have a real problem there, and we have not been able so far to swallow it, to accommodate it, to incorporate it into the teachings of Islam, and we do not know how to deal with it, and to what extent it has to be accepted. Why is this? And where from freedom has has borrowed such a respect and such a pivotal central place in the whole system of thought. As you know, freedom, of course, is part of justice. There is a false controversy, I would say, that is freedom prior to justice, or perhaps justice is prior to freedom. To me, this is a false discussion altogether. Freedom is a part of justice. When you apply justice fully, then you have to consider freedom as part of justice. So it is subsumed under justice. It is not something to be contrasted with it, or to be taken independently. It is dependent, and it is part of justice. If you want to do full justice to somebody, you have to respect his freedom. Okay. So whatever you mean by freedom anyway, because justice by far is the most general, the most universal ethical concept. All other moral ethical concepts come under it and can be subsumed under justice, including freedom. So this means, I would like, though this is in brackets, I am mentioning it, this means that the concept of justice needs a better scrutiny, has to be analyzed more than ever. This means that even justice among us has not been done. We have not done justice, the full justice to the concept of justice itself. And I have got a lot of evidence to this effect. I can show you that for centuries the idea of justice has been virtually abandoned and forgotten by our moral philosophers. They have never taken it anew in order to discuss it, in order to develop it. They have stopped where Aristotle stopped. They have stopped where Aristotle stopped. The moral philosophy among Muslims, most unfortunately, is dependent on the moral concept of the old Greece. And they have followed step by step the Aristotelians, the Peripatetics, the Platonics, and so on and so forth. And very seldom they have been able to add anything to the idea of justice. And because of that, not only the idea of freedom now seems so foreign to us, but also the idea of justice. And that's why nowadays, even among the Muslim scholars in Iran and elsewhere, to me, actually the idea of justice has to be taken first, and to be developed, and to be analyzed in